Hey everyone, welcome to the video going over the NASCAR race for tomorrow at Chicagoland Speedway at 3 p.m. the Camping World 400. Anyway, before we continue, if you could leave a like, subscribe to the channel, really appreciate that. And if you want some extra bonus content for this NASCAR race tomorrow, you can go on Patreon and you can get some extra content here. So if I go over to the NASCAR model, you're going to get access to that cheat sheet I'm showing you and a lot more. You're going to get my target sheet page, the NASCAR article I write. So I have a nice article breaking down everything. And then you get projections. So I have point projections, so you're going to get the best value plays and all that. And then I'm also going to be sharing my GPP lineup exposure, so how much of each driver I have. And then I think that's it. I think there might be something else, but a lot of good info in there. So if you want some extra content, I think it would really help you out. And it's only like $2 per race if you break that down for the $8 per month. And if you want access to just all the sports, there's the all access package at $20. And when I do NFL, I'm going to keep that price the same, so you get an even better value. So anyway, enough plugging of my Patreon. Let's get into this cheat sheet. So as soon as I fix that. All right. So first I want to talk about the strategy for this race. So first, well, let me do a brief overview of the track. So we're going to be at Chicagoland Speedway. It's your typical 1.5 mile intermediate track. It's 267 laps, which is 400 miles, I think. And then possible Dominator points for this race is going to be around 200. So we are going to have some importance on Dominator. I know last week there was only, like 90 laps. So really wasn't a huge emphasis on Dominator, but you did need the Dominator to win any GPPs, Martin Truex. But we're going to a little bit more emphasis on Dominators this week just because of how many points are available. And some strategy and tips. Okay, this is an extremely, extremely important, so just remember this. If you don't remember anything I say, this is really important. This is an impound race, so if they get, they're going to be doing inspection tomorrow at around 9 a.m., and if they get sent to the back, they lose their starting position, and then they'll be scored from, like, okay, let's say Joey Logano's running 19th. If he fails inspection, he's going to be started at, let's say, like 37th. So that's going to be a big deal because if he's starting 37th, he's basically a lock. So I'm going to be doing updates in the morning. I'll update the projections tomorrow, and I'll also, we have Slack chat as well. I should have mentioned that. We also have Slack chat in the Patreon. So if you are interested in that, you can ask me questions throughout the day and, just whatnot. So going to be doing a lot of updates in the morning. So maybe this whole thing might just be for nothing, depending on who goes to the back or not. But I can only work with what we have at the moment. So just remember that. And then this is your typical 1.5 mile track. 10 lap average is going to be very important in practice. And then I like track history at 1.5 miles as well. And 1 to 2 Dominators per lineup. And let's get into the Dominators. So my number one Dominator is going to be Kevin Harvick at 11,200. He's pretty expensive. He's the second most expensive guy, but I love him this week. He dominated practice, as you can see, second in the 10 lap in the first practice, and then first in the second one, and then he was first in the 15 lap in the second practice as well. And so when he starts out, he's going to be sandwiched between Austin Dillon and Daniel Hemrick to start their race. So basically, he's just going to get the lead quick, I would assume, probably in the first lap or two. And he's been awesome on 1.5 mile tracks. He's got the second highest average finish out of all drivers. I'm using samples data from the past 2 years at 1.5 mile tracks just because they don't race at Chicagoland very much. They only do one race there per year, so I didn't get a good enough sample out of just 2 races. So that's what I'm using, but he's been awesome, as you can see, and he's got the highest driver rating of all drivers at 118. So he's looking really good to me this week. I believe he has the most laps led in this span as well. It's either him or Truex. I can figure that out here soon. Yeah, so most laps led as well. So definitely love Kevin Harvick a lot. He's one of my favorite plays of the week, and I do think he's going to score the most points as long as he can dominate. It's just his crew needs to get it together because his crew is usually the one that's costing him because he's been driving really well this year. It's just when he'll be doing good and then he goes to the pits, something happens, and he's just done for the rest of the day because something messes him up. And then we also have Martin Truex at 10,900. He's my second favorite Dominator, but he could also be a place differential guy, but he's more of like a Dominator because I'm not paying 11K for place differential, which I mean I kind of am, but I do think he can get up front. And really with Truex, whenever we are at a cookie cutter 1.5 mile track, Martin Truex is always near the top, if not the top, list of contenders to dominate and win the race. Like usual, his team did not qualify well or show the best practice times, but I've learned to just ignore that with Truex this year, as he always seems to show up on game day or race day And starting 18th, this makes him a really safe play because because outside of damage, he's going to most likely top 5 and possibly contend for the win of the race, and I wouldn't be surprised if he got up front either. So definitely like Martin Truex a lot, and he's one of my favorite plays of the week. And he is cheaper than Harvick, but Harvick's got the easiest path to dominating the race. And then the next I want to talk about is Kyle Busch at 11,500. He is the most expensive guy, but he's starting 17th, so right beside Truex. And you just can't leave Kyle Busch off your list of dominators. And he's starting 17th, so we get that nice place differential double upside. It's basically all the same reasons I do like Martin Truex. I'm not going to just go huge into it, but if you're picking between the two, I do prefer Truex because you get the savings and one more place differential spot. And Truex is just a rock star at 1.5 mile tracks. But I will split my exposure between the two. And it's going to be hard to fit two of these top dogs in the lineup, but I would really try to get some lineups with both of them in, but I understand because it's pretty hard. And then if we go to the place differential guys, first guy I want to talk about is Chris Buescher at 6,800. Let me scroll down to him. So he's one of my favorite plays of the week, considering his price and starting position. He's been nothing but solid at these tracks and this year, and I look for another strong showing, and he's a near lock for top 20 in my opinion. And I got all the stats on here, but I'm just not gonna just bore you guys to death. He's a good play this week. Average finish of 18. I mean, he's gonna be moving up. Although the problem is with this impound, he might end up starting like 17th, which is gonna suck. But we'll see. But I can only give you guys what we got right now. And then Ricky Stenhouse Jr. at 7,100. He's one of my favorite plays of the week at the moment. He's starting 26. Really like this price we're getting with him, and he's been pretty good at 1.5. So he's not terrible. And we get an average finish of 16 here, and outside of a wreck, but they don't call him Ricky Stenhouse for nothing. So he always has that wrecking upside, but he should top 20 and be a top value play in my opinion. And then Paul Menard at 7,300. He's starting 25th, and with all these nice value plays, we might actually get the spend up for two top dogs in the lineup, which I would really like to do because I think they're going to be top heavy. But Menard is nothing flashy, but he's a much better driver than starting 25th. He's got an average finish of 18 at 1.5 mile tracks, and he's just a solid driver. I mean, I'm not expecting anything huge out of him, but I do think he's a pretty solid play this week. And then Daniel Suarez at 7,400. It's a shame all these nice value plays are probably going to get ruined by 10 a.m. tomorrow once inspection starts. But can't look into the future, so this is what we have at the moment. And he was top 10 in both practices and starting 29th with top 12 upside. Of course, I'm going to have a lot of interest in him. And he's been pretty good this year. He's been in the optimal lineup a lot of times this year, so don't mind some Daniel Suarez at all. And then Eric Jones at 8,900 starting 21st. I don't have a ton of interest in him because, I mean, he's going to move up some spots unless he's one of the ones that fail inspection. And he's just really expensive. But at the moment, starting 21st, I do have some interest in there. He was around 15th in practice. And he's not too bad at the 1.5 mile tracks, average finish of 14, and pretty respectable driver rating of 85. So I do have interest in him, but it's going to be harder to get up to him at 9K. But I do think he's a decent play at the moment. And then if we go to some of the cheap guys, there is nothing in the cheap range this week, so I'm really hoping some of these cheap guys end up falling to the back because we're going to be in some trouble without some cheap guys. But we do have a lot of nice, solid place differential plays in the 7K range, but we need some more cheap guys to fall. But I do have interest in Bubba Wallace. He is starting, where's he at? I cannot find him. Okay, he's 5,500 starting 27th, and really, he's really the only value guy I like in Dumpsterville this week. So I'm really hoping some more go to the back. I don't mind Wallace starting 27th, though, however, as his average finish and practice times were respectable enough for me. So do have interest in Bubba Wallace, and I will let you guys know if I have any other interest in some value guys if they end up dropping to the back. As of right now, it's looking pretty ugly. And then for the fades, Austin Dillon on the pull, it's just absolutely not going to happen for me. I hope he's 15% owned. Usually whenever there's a guy starting on the pull, he ends up being 15% owned anyway, even if it's like someone like Austin Dillon. I think he's one of the worst plays of the week because I wouldn't even be shocked if he didn't lead one lap. So I don't like Austin Dillon at all. Daniel Hemrick starting third, not going to happen, guys. And then Michael McDowell at 6,100. He's one of the guys I'm really hoping falls to the back as he was top 20 in the practice and has a decent average finish. But starting 7th, just get out of here. Not going to happen for me. But anyway, guys, I think that's all I have for the video. I really wasn't a long video because impound is tomorrow, so there's no sense in going too deep into this, as a lot of stuff's going to change tomorrow. So if you want all the updates, I'm going to more in-depth updates, just support me. Go to the Patreon and you can sign up, and I'll be doing a lot of stuff on there. I'll update the projections, update the model for their qualifying and all that. So anyway, before I get out of here, remember to leave a like, subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate that. I'll put the link for Patreon in the description below, and I wish you guys the best of luck.